We are live. There we go.
Superb. I love it when we go live and then we all get quiet.
Yeah.
Hopefully the audio is out there. Hopefully the audio is out there.
It is.
Oh, good.
Hello, Richard Flagg. Lots of drone activity around Ascot today from those DJI fellas when I was down there. So that was rather good.
Hi, Gemma. Is that Gemma?
Yeah.
Hi.
Mondo.
It's just like old times. It's like the kitchen.
I know. I have to now, like, if I need anything in this room, I'm like, excuse me, everyone.
Oh, was this Gemma's doing to hide all of the things in the background?
Yes.
In the cabinets?
Oh, in the cabinet. Yeah.
They're very messy. And
yeah.
Oh gosh, don't show it.
No, it's all
See,
unlike yours, Armando, which is beautiful books and awards and things.
Carlos he just has airplane parts.
He has airplane parts, and nothing's really arranged. It's really upsetting my OCD.
Oh, that's in the cupboard.
It's very upsetting.
Oh, great. Now
I believe there's some 747 freighter parts going as well. If you could get them from Hong Kong.
Him.
Yeah.
I will post it. I'll FedEx it to you, and Sue will go, nope.
Oh dear.
Yeah, I've always admired Nev's clean background there.
Yeah.
That's good.
He's got a lovely clean background.
Clean mind as well.
Clean mind,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And a fresh
post-retire. I love post-retirement, Nev.
Well, yeah, quite exactly. Yeah.
Right, how far are we off, Nev?
About another minute before you need to press the clock.
Yeah, okay.
So, yeah.
A bit, or have you pushed it back?
No, I've not touched the plant.
Oh, I think it's happy here.
The plant is happy in the studio.
Yeah. It's a cheese plant. But it seems to like it here a lot. Because it was quite low down, but it seems to like, I think they like the full sun.
The cheese plant is happy in the studio.
Because it's got all the airplane parts around it.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Have a good show.
Thanks. Oh, can you get me a I can't get the door. You couldn't get me a drink in this lovely
I can,
airline
but I'm
pilot
also
guy
doing the
glass.
washing you started as
Thank
well,
you.
so. Goodbye.
Bye. Right, say when, Nev, and I'll hit the button.
Yes, just 10 seconds to go.
Speaking
Okay.
downstairs, I don't know why. Carl.
It's off now. Say when, Nev.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
There we go. Welcome to episode 574 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carlos, and in this week's show, an ACT Airlines 747 freighter on behalf of Emirates has a runway excursion at Hong Kong. British Airways faces a $450,000 lawsuit from Sabre over UK tax dispute, and a Nottinghamshire man is given access to 50 Ryanair boarding passes in a major booking site data breach. In the military news this week, the MOD seeks industry partners for new drone testing framework, and 8 Su-30s and 4 Jaguars faced 6 F-35Bs during a carrier defence scenario as part of the HMS Prince of Wales participation in Exercise Konkan. We've got the penultimate part of the interview series with Alan Munro, along with another fabulous retro airline ad of the week. So joining me this week, as always, across the fields, the glens, the dales, the glorious sunny Buckinghamshire countryside is, of course, Neville Bands. Hello, Nev.
Yes, hello, matey. Hello, everybody. Yeah, it's sunny today, but this is the calm before the storm, because the big storm is coming across the south of England and moving east, a bit into East Anglia and I think France and Belgium as well, probably by tomorrow. So, but yes, all well here. Thank you. Been a hectic few days, I have to say. I think my car must think it's had a drill up its speedo cable. I've been all over the shop the last few days, and I was over at Ascot today at an event that Richard Flagg's company organises, actually. So I was there to see some of my old AV chums and also some AvGeek chums as well, actually. So I bumped into Ross from Epson. So Ross is the chap that helps us with our projection when we do these big 300 or 400 shows, that kind of stuff. And then Barry from another company, another customer of ours, who is a former licensed aircraft engineer. He's also a listener to the show as well. So it's nice to bump into those fellas. But yes, all good. Thank you very much.
Excellent. I did see the weather warning pop up on my AccuWeather app earlier today, Nev, saying that we've got gale force winds heading towards us here, or on the east coast anyway.
Yes, I think it's on its way, and I think it's going to be okay. Oh, it's going to start tonight by the sounds of things, but yeah, by tomorrow it's going to be a bit full on with sort of 40, 50 mile an hour winds. So should be some excitement at various airports, I would imagine.
Yeah, keep your eyes on those YouTube channels. You know where they are.
Yeah.
And, well, I can't believe this. We scoured the whole earth to find him, but we managed to find him and bring him back onto the show. And it gives me great pleasure to welcome back our resident flyer of everything that has wings, including paper airplanes. It is Armando.
I thought you were going to go somewhere else with that, as in like scouring the bottom of the barrel, and here I am. Thank you, Captain Cruz. Yes, it was last minute. I didn't get to plan I just decided to jump into the show, and it's 133 million views on the video by now.
Wow. I was
Crazy.
actually showing someone the video at work today, Armando. I did a comment on just how many views that video has had now on YouTube.
Yes, 133 million, and Carlos accounts for 2 of those million.
Anyway, how are things, Armando? What's been going on in the world of all things piloting?
Good. Lots of travel. I'm headed out to Las Cruces for the air races. I don't know if you know this, but the Reno air races, the sport class and a couple other classes moved out to Las Cruces, New Mexico. So I'll be out there next week. I was in Riyadh last week, which I have a great Nev's passenger experience, because as I was sitting there flying BA and American and Qatar Airlines, I was just thinking of Nev the whole time. And let's see what else. I've been to the UK twice for different reasons. So lots of travel. And I got to fly the biplane this morning. I was in a Pilatus 2 days ago up to New York, and in the Hawker right before that. So flying all the things.
Wow. And how is the biplane?
Super. Oh, man, it's always just so nice to jump into that thing. Today, I had no agenda. I just took off. I had about 2 hours worth of fuel. I just hit a couple grass strips. It was awesome to just fly around at 1,000 feet, and the fall colors are starting to come out here. The leaves are changing here in the U.S., so it's good. Good.
Well, it's good to have you back on the show, Armando. Honestly, it really is good to have you back on the show. And I know
Happy to be back. Just like old times.
Yeah, and I know the listeners definitely love to see you back on the show. So, yeah, and a nice full chat room this evening as well. Going to have a look and see who's joining us tonight in the chat room. We have got, top of the list, Mazouz is in there. Number 1 in there again tonight. Hello to you, Mazouz. Hobby Time, good evening to you. Richard Adams says good evening all. We've got Tanya, the lovely Tanya's in there, all the way over in the US. tuned in. Good to see you in there. John Falk, good evening all. Too many names to say hi to already. I know. Good to see a full chat room. We have got Dirk S says, good evening, folks. We have got Captain Cruz. Hello to you, Captain Cruz. Darren Smith, evening, boys and girls. It's another plane, talking UK. Who else we got? Richard E. Flagg. Hello, Mr. Flagg. Photographer of all things aviation and old airports. Awesome site. You need to follow Richard on social media if you don't already do it. Richard Adams. Hello, Masha. Hello to Masha. Lovely to see you in there as well. Mark Priestley says, good evening all. Hello to you. Jason Trussell. Evening all, he says. Hope everyone is well around the world. The lovely Bill. Bill's in there. Says, hello all. Think we're a bit waterlogged. Yeah, we did have quite the rain showers yesterday here, Bill. That's for sure. Who else we got? Jason Trussell's in there, Richard Adams. Have I missed anyone? But welcome everyone to the show. As Nev said, packed show tonight. Loads to talk about. We've got a double bubble for the retro airline ad of the week this week. 2 ads this week, both of an airline from your neck of the woods, Armando. So looking forward to seeing what you think of those ads from the mid-'80s.
Like Nev said last week, I can't believe you're still finding these.
Yeah.
I would have also thought we would have run out of them by now.
No, there's still a few more. There is starting to get to the stage now where I look each week and I think, we've had that one. But yeah, there's still a few more out there. Don't forget, if you're listening to us as an audio podcast, we're on YouTube every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock here. Subscribe to us, hit the bell icon on YouTube to be notified when we're live and recording episodes like we are right now. So, Nev, do you want to kick things off tonight?
Yes, lots to pack in this evening. So let's start off, as usual, with the commercial aviation section.
The captain has turned on the seatbelt light. Please take your seats and fasten your seatbelts.
And this week's first story comes to us from avherald.com. Most of you will have seen this online this week. It has been all over social media, and it's the ACT Boeing 747 freighter at Hong Kong on October the 20th with the runway excursion. The ATC Airlines 747-400 freighter on behalf of Emirates registration Tango Charlie Alpha Charlie Foxtrot, performing flight EK9788, departed 19th of October from Dubai Al Maktoum Airport to Hong Kong with 4 crew, landed on Hong Kong's runway 07 left at 0352 Lima on the 19th of October, slowed to around 100 knots over the ground, but then began to veer left off the runway, broke through a perimeter fence, collided with a ground patrol car at the side of the road on the perimeter road, killing both occupants, went into the sea, still around 60 knots over ground, and the aircraft broke up. The 4 crew members on board the aircraft had opened the emergency doors of the aircraft shortly after the crash. At least 1 emergency evacuation slide deployed successfully. Fire service staff arrived at the scene within 2 minutes, and all 4 crew members were rescued and taken to hospital. In a statement, an Emirates spokesperson said, crew are confirmed to be safe and there was no cargo on board the aircraft. It's also said the Boeing 747-400 aircraft was also wet leased and operated by Turkish carrier ACT Airlines. Hong Kong's AAIA have opened an investigation, and pictures show the aircraft had broken in half with part of the fuselage submerged in the water with large cracks clearly visible. It's not known at this time if there has been an accident at this Hong Kong which resulted in water excursions, although previously it did occur at Kai Tak In 1993, a China Airlines 747-400 passed abeam the high-speed exit taxiway, and both pilot perceived that the distance remaining in which to stop the aircraft might be insufficient. As the aircraft approached the end of the paved surface, the commander turned the aircraft to the left using both rudder pedal and nose wheel steering tiller inputs. The aircraft ran off the end of the runway to the left of the centre line with the nose and right wing dropped over the seawall, and the aircraft entered the sea, creating a very large plume of water, which was observed by the control tower. You may well have seen this back on the... If you Google this, actually, you can see there's some pictures of this on there. As I said, it was back in 1993. There were no fatalities then from the 274 passengers and 22 crew on board. Your thoughts then, our resident pilot in the room today, Armando. I don't know what your thoughts on this were.
Yeah, we were talking about this in our group chat. There's some other internet personalities, some YouTubers out there that are doubling down on some theories already. I don't buy it quite yet, right? I mean, it just happened. I think all jets are a little squirrely on the ground once you get everything sort of settled down. You got to fly the airplane all the way. But having this severe, I think it was 80 knots ish when it started veering off to the left. John Jester, I wish he was here right now, but perhaps it was a thrust reverser stuck on one side with power on that would cause that sort of yaw out to the left. I was thinking of some kind of brake failure or a steering failure. It's so early to speculate as to how this happened. The weather was good. The winds were relatively calm, at least for a 747. And it was a professional crew. So it was these guys were professionals. So I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think it's incredibly sad that the two people in the vehicle, you have this all this land.
Time. Yeah.
Wrong place, wrong time. That's incredibly sad. And the crew probably saw that happening, and they are very lucky to have ended up in that situation. And it was weird how the slide actually deployed and ended up on the dry land. If you saw the pictures there. So what an interesting experience to have just gone through this emotional event of taking an airplane off the runway, down this embankment, into the water. You deploy the slide and it ends up and you stay dry the whole time and you're just able to walk out. So I think it's going to be interesting to hear from their point of view. I'm glad they're around to talk to us, the crew, and I think we'll probably find out fairly soon from their point of view what the preliminary cause of this accident was.
I'd love to know, Armando, how sensitive the tiller wheel is on the 747.
I think all tillers are pretty sensitive. You gotta, it's an acquired thing. It takes a little bit of training, and unfortunately, when you upgrade to the left seat, there's no training for it. The simulator doesn't really emulate steering on the ground quite so good. So you get in there the first time and you're taxiing any airplane, whether it's a CRJ regional or a 747, and you're just trying to figure out the visuals and where to put the visual references on each side of the windows and all that stuff. But they are pretty sensitive from what I understand on most jets. It's most of them are hydraulically it's actuating hydraulic actuators and you have to be sort of a little sensitive on it, but who knows if that was even a causal factor.
Captain Cruz in the chat room is just saying, Armando, that the slide looks huge. Don't they have smaller versions on cargo aircraft?
No, I think it's the same slide. It's just that's the second story, so it's got to be a pretty long throw all the way down to the ground if that was a passenger version. But I don't think that the slides actually change between the cargo versions and the passenger versions.
Yeah, we need to find out more about this. Like you said, we needed a John Jester here to let us know what his thoughts on there. John is in the chat room. There we go. Can you see that, Armando?
Yeah, exactly. That it's rudder pedals until about 20 knots, and then you use the steering. So they were about 80 when I think they started veering off. So they were probably I don't know. I don't want to speculate. Right.
Yeah.
We'll know from the crew what happened here.
We'll not speculate. Right, Armando, do you want to take the next story? And we're talking about probably one of the finest aircraft ever to fly the skies, apart from the TriStar.
I do actually think this is one of the finest aircraft ever made, and one of the most beautiful. Statuesque is always how I describe this airplane. But next month is going to mark the end of an era in modern European commercial aviation, with German leisure carrier Condor planning to operate its final flights with the aircraft from the Boeing 757 family this November. I'm sure Matt will be super sad for this. I don't know that I ever called it the flying pencil, but it is the flying pencil for 35 years. It's now Condor is looking to modernize their fleet. I don't know that I would categorize you throwing that picture up there that as the most beautiful airplane in the world, but hey, it is what it is. Following this development, there's going to be relatively few airlines operating these aircrafts, these 757s, on flights to and from Europe. Surprisingly high number of these coming from longer intercontinental sectors. The final service is scheduled for October 29th between Dusseldorf and Palma, and Frankfurt and Hurghada on November 2nd. So just a couple of weeks left on the 757s. The final farewell, Condor's final farewell to this 757 family will come in the form of this special round trip from Frankfurt to Vienna on November 5th. While many of those on board are going to be representatives from the airline, Condor actually auctioned off 75 tickets in order to allow the public to join in on the party. The COO of the company, Kirsten Schmidt, said, "The expanded network has new city connections, which is why our farewell flight combines the nostalgia of our last 757 with a joyful look into the future, symbolized by our city destination, Vienna." So there you go. I think in the U.S., United and Delta are the last ones operating the 757. So
I think you guys are going to be operating the 75s well into the next year or two, at least, Armando, over in the US.
Yeah, I mean, Delta has these on the going from New York to Florida, I don't know, a bunch of times a day. I think United's got them too. So, yeah, they'll be around for a little bit here in the US, but like everything else we've always talked about in this show, once there's a more efficient airplane that comes around, Airbus, they'll probably start phasing them out.
And you have to admit, Nev, the sound of a Rolls-Royce RB211 spooling up is quite the sound, isn't it?
Especially if the flight crew have forgot to, or have deliberately chosen not to do a D-rated takeoff. But yeah, fabulous sound, isn't it? Absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, yeah. Long may they continue to fly as well. I sincerely hope these 75s find new leases of life, at least the low hours or the low hours ones, because I'm sure there are some that I've still got plenty more life left in them to ferry freight around. But yeah, sad times. Nev, next one for you, and BA need to dig deep into the bank account.
Yeah, this is quite an interesting story. I mean, all our stories are interesting, hopefully, but I found this one particularly fascinating, and our producer John has added some very interesting info later on in the story, which I'll tell you about as well. This is on aviation-a-to-z.com, and it says that British Airways faces a $450,000 lawsuit from Sabre over UK tax dispute. Well, a long-standing partnership between Sabre Corporation, which is a global distribution system provider, and British Airways has hit turbulence, and now it's headed to court. The Texas-based travel technology firm has filed a $450,000 lawsuit against BA, claiming that the airline refused to reimburse a tax payment linked to their decades-old commercial deal. At the heart of the dispute is the UK's digital services tax, introduced in 2020 to target large tech firms earning revenue from UK-based users. Sabre says that BA is contractually obliged to cover these costs under a 1991 agreement between the two companies. But when Sabre paid nearly $454,000 in tax to His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, British Airways reportedly refused to reimburse the amount, arguing that the tax doesn't fall under the terms of their deal. After months of failed negotiations, Sabre has taken the issue to a Texas court, seeking an official ruling on whether the digital services tax qualifies as a reimbursable charge under their agreement. Now, just a note here that our HMRC, which is His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, have clarified in 2022 that the global distribution tax system are taxable entities, and the tax is a 2% levy on revenue from UK users. Now, this is all a bit technical, I realise, but John's very kindly given us a good explanation of what is GDS. So when you book a flight through a travel agent, a website like Expedia, for example, or even a travel corporate portal, you're not really dealing with each airline's own system. Instead, there's a powerful bit of technology sitting in the middle called a global distribution system, or GDS. Basically, you can think of a GDS as a giant online marketplace that connects airlines, hotels, and travel agencies around the world. It holds real-time information updated about flight schedules, seat availability, and prices. So when you search for flights from London to Dubai, for example, it instantly scans through hundreds of airlines and routes to show you your options, all within seconds. For the airlines, systems like Sabre, Amadeus, or Travelport act like their digital storefronts to the world. They use them to distribute flight information, sell tickets through third-party agents, and even manage bookings or seat inventory. As for passengers, the GDS makes travel seamless. It's what allows you to book a flight from, say, British Airways via a travel agent, then add a hotel or car rental, all in a single transaction. Without it, booking travel would be a lot slower, more expensive, and far less connected between airlines and agency. So in this lawsuit story, Sabre isn't just some background tech company. It's one of the core systems that helps you find and buy your airline tickets. The dispute with BA is essentially about who should pay for a new kind of digital tax that applies to these massive online systems which keep global travel running smoothly. As I say, it's all a bit technical, and I'm sure the lawyers are going to be all over that with their very high rates per hour, which will just add to the cost of everything here. But it'll be interesting to see how this is resolved and whether it sets some kind of precedent for future situations as well.
You know, Sabre has been around since 1960.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it? Incredible.
It was developed by American Airlines. I remember my stepmom was a flight attendant. My dad was a pilot for an American Express carrier. And I remember them talking about Sabre to book my non-rev tickets when I was a kid.
Yeah. Amazing, isn't it?
Darren Smith in the chat room, Neb, says, bring back travel agents, much more fun.
Well, that was quite a nice personal interface. I mean, when I first started flying back in the 1985s, 86 for work, we used to use a corporate travel agency, and then flying for, this is obviously before all the internet as well. It was quite good to go down to your local travel agent and have a look at flights that were available and what suited your schedule and that kind of stuff. But no longer, or not for many people anyway. They're all doing it themselves online. But I'd heard of Sabre, I'd heard of Amadeus, but I hadn't heard of Travelport. But these are huge organisations with very big databases, I would imagine.
So, next story comes from simpleflying.com. And winter shake-up. Wizz Air has stopped flights to 22 airports. All airlines add and cut countries, airports and routes from their networks. It's never an ending process of finding what works and contributes well. The Wizz Air Group is no exception, comparing its served airports list of winter 2024-25 with what's available in the winter 2025-26 shows that 22 airports are no longer being served. Wizz Air has undergone many changes recently, including shutting its Abu Dhabi unit, reducing orders from Airbus of the A321XLRs, and grounding aircraft due to defects in the Pratt & Whitney A320neo engines. And the elimination of the 22 airports is part of this. The winter schedules, based on IATA slot seasons, start in the Northern Hemisphere on October the 26th and run through till March 28th. Schedule analysis, including data from Serum, shows the Wizz Air Group plans to serve 155 airports in Africa, the Caucasus, Europe and the Middle East. Compared to last winter, it has ceased flying to Alexandria, Almaty, Antalya, Aqaba, Astana, Bishkek, wherever that may be, Bremen, Brussels, although Charleroi is still served, Burgas, Daman, Erbil, Leipzig, Mali, Riga, Riga, Rome, Ciampino, although Fiumicino is still served, Salerno, Salzburg, Smartland, Sohag, Tashkent and Turkestan. 13 of these eliminations are from the end of its Abu Dhabi base, so it's a bit of an exceptional development. It'll continue to fly to Abu Dhabi using non-based aircraft. Moreover, its schedules show that Antalya, Burgas and Campino will return to its network in the summer of 2026. They just won't be served during the off-season. And for Antalya and Burgas in particular, that makes for a lot of sense.
I'm sorry, Carlos. I think my internet may have cut out. Would you repeat all of those cities again?
Yes. No, not at all.
I think I'm going to give you a solid B minus C plus, but that was good.
Yeah,
that was a good
right,
effort.
fair enough.
Good college effort there.
Oh dear. Well,
I think the only two that you got wrong were Charleroi in Brussels and Riyadh, but the rest were really good actually.
Oh, thanks.
They did very well there.
That's good.
Yeah.
I've never flown. I have to say, I've never flown Wizz Air. In all the years, I've never flown Wizz Air, but I thought they had quite a good route network, and they were. I mean, whenever we fly, especially to Malta, they've got quite a presence in Malta as well as Ryanair and EasyJet, obviously. But never had the chance to fly Wizz Air. I don't know whether you've flown Wizz Air?
But I think I should do that, even if it does mean flying from Luton to somewhere. They're always mucking about with their routes, aren't they? They're always cutting things back or adding things. And of course, with the new A321 XLRs, it gives them a lot of flexibility, although they have reduced some of those orders. So, taking out 22 airports is quite a hit, isn't it, really? But it's all about seasonal stuff as well. So let's see where they end up with it.
Yeah, I was just kind of thinking that about how does that affect the crews and all the ground staff and all the rest. 22 changes in 22 cities. That's a pretty big change in your route system.
Also depends where they're basing aircraft, I guess, as well, doesn't it? So quite the moment. So we'll have to see.
Right, Armando, you've got the next story, and it's a Ryanair story. And having just flown back into the UK with Ryanair on Sunday. Quite like this story.
Yeah, well, this could have been you. A Nottinghamshire man was given access to dozens of other Ryanair passengers' boarding passes in a major data breach by a third-party booking site after having difficulties booking a trip to. See, now I'm going to do it. What is this? Benidorm? I don't know what that is. Through Holiday Globe, Stuart Cobb was given the firm's login details, allowing him to scroll through the tickets of more than 50 fellow passengers. A spokesperson for Holiday Globe said the agent responsible for the breach should not have done it, but had good intentions. Meanwhile, Ryanair told Nottinghamshire Live that the firm was not authorized to sell its flights and that Holiday Globe was wholly responsible for safeguarding the data their customers provide to them, and that this was a prime example of why customers should book directly through the airlines. 2 weeks before he was due to fly out of East Midlands Airport for the holiday, the 45-year-old was unable to retrieve his tickets through Ryanair, so an agent at Holiday Globe handed over the company's email and password. The print shop owner was pleased to find this ticket, but was soon shocked to find that he has access to details including passenger names, QR codes, seat numbers, and was able to actually manage the bookings with the company's information, which included flights from all over Europe. Among the accessible data were the boarding passes for Manchester to Malta, Edinburgh to Agadir, Birmingham to Tenerife, and Rhodes to Bournemouth. Obviously, this was a major data breach, a major breach of security. And he said that he would have been able to get all the way to the boarding door with these boarding passes that he was able to print out. Also, I love that he printed them out and showed the media because, suitable for framing, I suppose. He could have gone anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, he's only one stage away from sending Ryanair an invoice for the toner he used on his printer, probably. Wow, that's quite a moment, isn't it? Really, getting access to those bookings by getting the login details. That's quite the moment, isn't it?
Would you have messed with everybody? Would you just have gone in and started changing people's travel dates and destinations, and maybe put everybody in an aisle seat?
Funny you should say that. I'm no longer a member of the BA Gold Club forum on Facebook because I was getting so irritated by it. But occasionally, what has happened in the past, although I don't think bookings have been changed, but when someone complains about something and they send a copy of their boarding pass before they've actually flown the sector and the QR code's on there, there have been situations where people have got into their booking and changed their nice big, steak meal for a vegan option and stuff like that. And I mean, it's just crass stupidity, putting your booking QR code on the internet, isn't it? Because, stuff's going to go wrong. But no, this is quite, it's entertaining, but it's worrying at the same time, I think.
Oh dear. Yeah,
well,
I didn't get that choice of mine. It was just my booking, and that was it.
Jason Trussell's comment in the chat room is he would have manipulated his fellow passengers. Let's just call it his fellow passengers to be able to sit next to him, whether he wanted them to or not.
Oh dear, I do love the chat room. Yeah. I must admit, I was suitably impressed with seat 2F personally on the way there and the way back on the weekend. I think it's probably the best seat to get if you want lots of leg room is definitely 2.
Those steps on the 737. I mean, obviously Ryanair use them because they're not using the normal jet bridges and that kind of thing. They do look quite steep to get up and down. Actually, are they? I've never tried that before.
They're not actually that bad. They do look steep. I will say that when you're walking up towards them, but they're designed quite well. That they're quite sturdy when you walk up them, and they are they've normally got the grip stuff on the steps, so they're fairly good. Especially when it's wet. When we flew back from Ireland on Sunday, we left a very, very wet Dublin airport on Sunday morning or afternoon. But no, they are good, Nev. They are good. They're a brilliant idea, though, of Boeing. Yeah.
No, absolutely no, because it means that they can be completely independent of the that part of the airport infrastructure. So yeah,
it's a bit like Ford, Nev, with the heated windscreen. It's a really good idea that Ford had with the heated windscreen, and Boeing have done
they're
with the
kicking themselves that the patent ran out on that as well.
Yes. Right, Nev, you've got the next one, and this is a partnership deal.
Indeed, especially for Darren Smith, this one. It's on SAS Group's corporate website, sasgroup.net, and it says that SAS deepens commercial partnership with Virgin Atlantic. Scandinavian Airlines announced an expanded agreement with Virgin Atlantic, giving SAS customers greater access to several long-haul destinations. As part of the agreement, SAS will place its SK code on selected Virgin Atlantic flights from London Heathrow, providing SAS customers with seamless access to destinations such as Cape Town, Johannesburg, Dubai and Male in the Maldives. The codeshare flights offer convenient travel times and are available for booking through SAS channels. More destinations will be added soon. This expanded codeshare with Virgin Atlantic strengthens SAS offering to both business and leisure travellers by opening up more options to popular destinations, says Paul Verhagen, who's Chief Commercial Officer at SAS. By placing our code on Virgin Atlantic flights, we make it easier for our customers to connect seamlessly through London Heathrow and enjoy a smooth travel experience. Juha Jarvanen, who's Chief Commercial Officer at Virgin Atlantic, commented, "We're delighted to be able to deepen our partnership with SAS through our code share expansion, signalling our continued commitment to working with our fellow Sky team member. It means more customers can enjoy seamless connections through London Heathrow to our incredible destinations, including Dubai, the Maldives and South Africa, as well as enjoy the premium customer experience which Virgin Atlantic is famous for." SAS and Virgin Atlantic launched a bilateral code share agreement in October 2024, and the new code share flights will be available. In fact, they're available now from October the 6th for travel beginning from October the 8th. So they've already been on sale for a couple of weeks. Now, that sounds great, but hang on a minute. Code share flights and information at the airport, isn't that a difficult thing? The number of times I've nearly gone to the wrong gate because I couldn't see my flight on a particular thing, because the thing is scrolling through the various code shares that they've got on the go. Now, as a reasonably experienced traveller, that I should know better really. But a lot of people that aren't doing a lot of travelling, some of these code shares on the passenger information displays at airport terminals are a bit confusing, I have to say.
Yeah, I think especially at Heathrow, when there was so many airlines, so many code share agreements, I will completely agree with you, Nev. I think at Heathrow especially, it scrolls so fast and there's just so many flights to so many different destinations. It is a little confusing.
And often they do make it even worse, because suddenly you look up at the board and you go, hang on, there's 4 flights to Heathrow at 3:20. No, it's the same flight, but there's just different code shares. Rather than scrolling through it, they've actually listed it as 4 different flights on the PIDs.
Yeah, looking at the boarding boards or the departure boards at Heathrow, I think it's like Traveller Survivor, where if you can get through the London Underground to the airport, which is much easier now, as I discovered with the Elizabeth line, and then get to your proper terminal and then get to your proper gate. I think if you can do that, you have qualified for a Survivor episode or Amazing Race.
Yes, exactly. But they could make it easier, couldn't they?
Just looking at, so I'm just reading a story on Av Harold then. Got waylaid. This next story comes to us from AL.com. I think that's right. US airline files for bankruptcy with $38 million in debt. Never heard of this particular airline, Armando. VeryJet, a private luxury jet airline, filed for bankruptcy in Florida's Southern District courts weeks after the death of the founder, Richard Kane, and multiple lawsuits. VeryJet is over $38.7 million in debt. Wow. And all operations and flights are cancelled, according to reports from Forbes. The airline filed for Chapter 7 bankruptcy, meaning the company will be liquidated. VeryJet launched back in 2020 during the COVID-19 pandemic, and they only did short-distance flights within the US until 2023, when the airline started flying internationally. That year, VeryJet ranked as the 13th largest US private jet operator. VeryJet's revenue primarily came from jet cards, which are prepaid flight hours sold to individuals and businesses, according to Forbes. VeryJet exclusively operated the Cirrus SF-50 Vision jet before filing for bankruptcy. The company focused on using this single-engine jet for green air taxi services, emphasising its lower fuel consumption, reduced emissions and quieter operation compared to twin-engine jets. The bankruptcy filing shows that VeryJet had only $2.5 million in assets and more than $38.7 million in debt. Back in November 2024, a customer sued the airline after buying a 50-hour jet card for $147,812, accusing the company of numerous delays, cancelled flights and countless excuses. In April 2025, another customer won a $328,000 lawsuit for flights that were never delivered, according to reports from Financial Express. VeryJet is not the only airline experiencing financial trouble. Multiple airlines have gone bankrupt this year, as we know, including Spirit, which filed for in August, the second time. Spirit Airlines filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, which allows companies to restructure and continue operating. Armando, VeryJet, who are they?
Well, they were ranked 30th amongst private jet card comparisons. So this is kind of interesting. VeryJet went this route with the Vision Jet. The Vision Jet is not particularly a large airplane. I think it's only got 4 passenger seats, 5 if you include the co-pilot seat. It is a very efficient jet, but it's not very big. It doesn't have an APU. It really, really was meant to be an air taxi. Single engine jet, but it is very capable, very safe airplane. I think at the end of the day, VeryJet had something around the order of 20 of these aircraft. They were a Part 135. So I've talked about this in the past. There's a difference between Part 91, Part 135. Part 91K, so that is like NetJets or something like that. You technically own 1/18th of a jet. So you put in $500,000, $250,000, whatever your budget is, and you technically are a part owner of an aircraft. That allows that company to fly under Part 91K, which has different rules. VeryJet was a straight Part 135 on-demand charter. You could buy a jet card for $125,000 up to $1 million. You can't actually buy it in block time, so you buy 15 hours, 20 hours based on your personal travel needs or your company's travel needs, where you say. So for me, it would be perfect. Let's say I had a business here in Charlotte, and I needed to go to Washington, D.C. a couple times a month. It works out for me to just know that I have this airplane available to me whenever I want. So they were a Part 135 operator. That is a hard business to be in. It's very, very, very competitive. And I don't know if this had anything to do with it, but the CEO and the owner, the founder of the company, actually just passed away this month. So it is entirely possible that the company's processes weren't established well enough that it can't survive without its owner. So there are already companies out there that are picking up their client base. So they are offering, if you had, I think they had something about $10 million in outstanding jet cards. So basically people have already paid into the accounts. And there are other companies out there, Part 135 companies, that are trying to lure those customers, that client base in, and say, we will honor the money that you had in with VeryJet, and then maybe even give you a little bit of a bonus if we can take your business.
Just remind me, Armando, is Part 135, is that single pilot?
It can be. Yeah, it absolutely can be. With the Vision Jet being a single pilot airplane, you would get what's called an OPSPEC, or an authorization from the FAA to fly single pilot Part 135 operations.
Yeah, must be a very competitive sector, mustn't it? And it's all about revenue and profitability and aircraft availability and that kind of stuff. So I can imagine that's a pretty tough market to operate in.
It is.
So up next, Armando, you have got a story a bit closer to home for me and Nev.
Yeah, cargo continues to just grow and grow. So there's a new cargo facility that has just been completed at the Bournemouth Airport. Cargo First is a dedicated division of the Bournemouth Airport. They've completed and commissioned a brand new cargo facility there at the airport. This includes 3 new ICAO Code E stands and a much larger customs bonded cargo operations center, as well as improved access. That's a beautiful picture right there. I don't know if that's a real picture, but we'll go with it. This facility is located next to the airport's 200-acre business park. The new facility effectively doubles the cargo capacity of the Bournemouth Airport, and its location offers new opportunities for logistics operators to co-locate landside facilities for the handling and onward transportation of freight. In the first 12 months of operations up to March 2025, Cargo First handled 31,000 tons of freight at the airport. That's a 70% increase over the previous year, making Bournemouth 8th in the UK as air freight airports. The managing director of the Bournemouth Airport said that the completion of these new facilities marks a significant milestone for the airport and Cargo First. Not only does it provide the infrastructure to support the fast-growing cargo business, but also reinforce their position as a highly attractive alternative to the congested London hubs. So with record volumes already passing through the airport last year, this investment underlies their ambitions here at the UK's newest import-export air hub. I've never been to the Bournemouth Airport.
Yes. And did I see some A340, 300 freighters?
That's why I was wondering if that picture was real or not.
It's
3
a real
A340s,
Yeah. They operate out of Bournemouth, but it's. I think the trouble is with all the main sort of cargo hubs, Stansted, East Midlands, and even Heathrow being so congested as well. It's good to have more regional possibilities as well, even in a small country like the UK. So it's right on the south coast there. So sounds good.
Yeah, I've never been. It's a nice part of the world. I know many people go there on holiday, Bournemouth, but I think you are right there, Armando. The A340 there, I think they were the Virgin Atlantic 340s.
Oh, so there might be the 600s, mightn't there?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's what the chat room is saying.
Yeah. Right. Next story for you, Nev, and this one is all about True Nord.
Yes, I couldn't find the other details about this. I've had to take it straight from the press release, unfortunately, so it even reads like a press release. But it's on truenord.com, and it says True Nord, the specialist regional aircraft leasing company, has signed a firm order agreement with Embraer to acquire 20 factory new E195-E2 aircraft. The agreement also includes purchase rights for up to 20 additional new aircraft and up to 10 new E175-E1 aircraft. At list price, the firm order is valued at $1.8 billion. The landmark agreement represents True Nord's first direct order with an aircraft manufacturer, a milestone in the company's journey commitments, says Anne Bart Thielman, CEO of True Nord. It marks an important stepping stone in our continued growth as a global leasing platform, underlying our commitment to investing in next-generation, fuel-efficient regional jets. The Embraer E-Jets combine efficiency, flexibility and performance, making them ideally suited to True Nord's customers around the world. Partnering with Embraer allows the business to further strengthen its offering and support airlines with aircraft that deliver superior economics and environmental benefits. Aaron Mayer, CEO of Embraer Commercial Aviation, comments, "This first direct order from True Nord is a strong endorsement of the E2's family capabilities and success in the market, and is a testament to the trust and collaboration between our teams. The E195-E2 delivers exceptional performance and efficiency, making it the ideal choice for lessors and operators looking to future-proof their fleets. This agreement also sends a strong signal to the market, reinforcing the momentum behind next-generation small narrow-body aircraft and the growing demand for sustainable, right-sized aircraft." True Nord is an aircraft aviation leasing company, if you didn't know, with offices in Amsterdam, London, Dublin and Singapore. I do like the E195, I must say. I think they've done the E2. They've done a very good job of that aircraft. I've only been on the 190s that fly out of London City Airport for BA, but it looks a nice machine, doesn't it?
It does, yeah, I agree. It's a fantastic looking aircraft, and it's popular as well. You tend to read more good stories about this aircraft than you do bad stories. But it'd be nice to at some point in time have a trip on one of these. Is it BA getting these? Did you say, Nev? BA having some of these?
Darren Smith in the chat room is saying that they're going to be ordering some E2s apparently.
So if that's a London City Airport utilised aircraft, Nev, that'll be my chance to fly the E2 and fly into London City Airport.
There you go. Yeah, another bucket list item you've got to tick off.
Yeah.
Have you never flown into London City?
No, I've never flown into London City Airport. Never have it. No. Only on the flight sim.
Yeah.
Actually, next time I'm up at Great Yarmouth with our guest from last week, Ian, perhaps I will ask him if I can try and land a 320 into London City Airport.
You could probably land it. I don't know about taking off, but you could land it.
Well, don't forget they were obviously BA used to operate the A318 into
the baby bus
for the fuel stop flights to Shannon, then onwards to JFK, and it was specially adapted for the 5.5 degree glide slope as well. Another thing to try out in the sim.
So, good news if you're a fan of EasyJet and a fan of Marrakesh, another place I've not been and I really need to go. It does look awesome. European low-cost carrier, this is from simpleflying.com. EasyJet are expanding its presence in Africa to support its growth in the region. The UK-based airline plans to open a new base in Marrakesh, Morocco. EasyJet will move 3 aircraft to the new base in the spring of 2026, making its first base outside of Europe. EasyJet already has considerable presence at Moroccan airports. The carrier currently operates flights to 5 airports, including Marrakesh, Agadir, Rabat, Essaouira and Tangier. Alongside the opening of the new base, EasyJet will also launch 4 new routes to Morocco. These will include services from Hamburg, Lille and Strasbourg to Marrakesh and from Geneva to Tangier. On October the 15th this year, EasyJet signed an agreement with Moroccan National Tourism Office, allowing the low-cost carrier to base 3 aircraft at Marrakesh Marina Airport, starting in spring 2026. For EasyJet, the new base will serve as a convenient gateway to connect Morocco with more European destinations and constrained airports across the region. With the opening of the Marrakesh base, EasyJet will be able to offer a record 4 million seats in its first year of operation. It's worth noting that EasyJet first began operating flights to Morocco back in 2006. Next year, the airline will celebrate 20 years of operations in the country. Since then, EasyJet has become the 3rd largest airline in Morocco and the 2nd largest in Marrakesh. Commenting on the airline's growth, Kenton Jarvis, the CEO of EasyJet, said, alongside the news of its new base at RAK Airport, the EasyJet has announced 4 new routes connecting Morocco, bringing the total number of routes to the country of 46. 3 of the new routes will serve Marrakesh, while the 4th will connect Tangier, a city in the northwest of Morocco. Starting in March, EasyJet will launch 2 weekly flights between Geneva Airport and Tangier, operating on Mondays and Thursdays. From May the 1st next year, the low-cost carrier will begin operations between Hamburg and Marrakesh, with 2 weekly flights on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the 3rd new route will connect Marrakesh and Lille Airport, starting on May the 3rd next year, with 2 weekly flights on Wednesdays and Sundays. Now, I know that Marrakesh has become quite a destination. A lot of people I know have been to Marrakesh. It's a very popular destination. But
I love Marrakesh.
It's a great.
It's gorgeous. It's beautiful.
But
we used to do exercises out of Mildenhall with the Moroccan Air Force, and we almost always went to Marrakesh. Sometimes we'd go to Rabat, but I love Marrakesh. I think it's one of the coolest African destinations.
Just reading it, the Darren Smith in the chat room says EasyJet fly to Oslo, not from London, only Paris, Manchester, and Berlin. Didn't know that. That's why we have the chat room, you see, guys, because they know.
I love the chat. I actually miss the chat room. It's literally like having live fact checking. I love this.
Yeah. But good news for EasyJet and good news for obviously lovers of Marrakesh. You need to come back here, Armando, and take a flight over to Marrakesh with EasyJet.
I'll tell you what, if I was an EasyJet pilot, I would love to be stationed in Marrakesh.
Right. So that was the last story in the commercial news segment. But Armando, you've done some flying in the last few weeks and months, etc. But you've got a few gripes, and I'm looking forward to hearing what Nev's thoughts are on this.
Me too, especially because I was actually texting Nev as this was happening because so I've gone back and forth to London a couple times. That's a pretty easy flight. It's direct from Charlotte. It's an American Airlines 777 that goes Charlotte to Heathrow. So I've done that a couple times already. No big issues there. It's actually quite an easy flight, not having to connect anywhere. And as I had not used the train in London to get up to Cambridge and East Anglia. Recently, I'd always just kind of rented a car with the family when I was there with the fam earlier this year. And the Elizabeth line really does make life so much easier. Like literally going to Farringdon, changing right up to Cambridge. Beautiful. So that was, I'm going to start with a happy, with a cherry on the top. Now, there I was going to Riyadh a couple weeks ago. And so I was on American, a 777 to London, no problems, except for my flight from London to Riyadh was on a British Airways 777. Which terminal, Nev?
3, isn't that? Or was that
Incorrect.
5?
Terminal 5.
5, yeah.
Right. So there I was. I landed at 3, and I was business class, so I was looking forward to going into the BA lounge. But I knew I could get into the American Airlines flagship lounge in Terminal 3. Wasn't able to get in there because I went in there and one of the people in the purple coats that helps you, they said, well, you can, but if you go into Terminal 3 connections, then you will have to go through security twice to get to Terminal 5. And they said, Terminal 5 is our busiest terminal. So even though I was assured entry into the American Airlines flagship lounge, that would have been really, really nice. They said, we don't recommend it because it may actually take you 3 hours to make this connection if you have to go through security twice. So I said, no problem. Okay, I'll just make my way over through the flight connections over to Terminal 5. And then British Airways, bless their heart, had no idea what to do with me. I was scanning boarding passes and I didn't book this. Behind the scenes. So I was doing another Mr. Beast project. So they booked all the tickets for me. I don't know how they, whatever they did. For whatever reason, I went to 3 different lounges and nobody at BA could tell me which lounge I was supposed to be at. So I ended up in, the Club World Lounge, right?
Yeah.
Which was packed. Not a seat in the house. The food, they couldn't keep up with the food. So I ended up standing and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's useless. I'm just going to go back downstairs. Although, Carlos, I did get a picture of the BA TriStar that they have there in the little display cases for you.
Yay.
So I don't know. That was kind of annoying. It was really nice. However, BA did make up for it with their business class seating. That 777 out to Riyadh, I think, was a 7-hour flight-ish. Food was great. I got to give it to BA. I think the food on BA was actually better than American Airlines. The amenities kit was kind of fun. I give all my amenities kits to Maddie because she loves them and she puts all her makeup and toys and all that stuff. But I will say, sorry, Nev, I still had to use a seat cushion. I have one of those inflatable seat cushions. I still had to use a seat cushion because the seat was actually really hard. And chat room, don't get me wrong. I don't fly business. I'm always in economy. They just happened to book me a business class ticket. And I was, the food was great. I was a little disappointed in the comfort of the seat. Any thoughts on that?
Wow, there's a lot to unpack there, isn't there? I think the only thing I would say about the whole thing, the whole experience, excluding the seat situation on the aircraft, is it all depends who you're talking to on the day at BA and at Heathrow as well, in terms of lounge access and all the rest of it. And yes, there's a very complicated matrix of who's allowed in and where they can go and all the rest of it. But at the end of the day, if you're given the wrong information or you're ending up in a situation where you're going landside again and then back in. Now, sometimes that works okay because sometimes it's just not that busy. But if you risk it, then you are into quite a long wait if there's big queues at security or something like that. Well, that's the whole point of the terminal's connection facility at Terminal 5 so that you can go and stay airside, basically. If that goes wrong, or as you mentioned, it is so busy in the other lounges, then that's not a great situation at all. So I've very rarely have done that actually. I've normally only flown in and out of Terminal 5 or in and out of Terminal 3. I've not actually switched terminals. Usually when I've been doing that, but that's quite a moment, I should think.
That was the first for me. Luckily, I had 5 hours on purpose. I don't like short layovers, even if it makes my trip longer. I don't like rushing. I don't like running. It's not my thing. So luckily, I had 5 hours. So to kind of stew in all of this and text you and tell you,
you were an angry American, weren't you? When I got this,
well, I wasn't like that level of angry American, but I was very polite.
Well, no, by your standards, something,
yeah. I was ranting a little bit to the PTK chat just because I don't know. I kept getting the runaround. The flight back was, other than the fact that my first leg was on Qatar Airways, which I was really, really looking forward to. They actually oversold the flight, and they oversold first class. So I ended up in like 39Q. So me and like
the APU?
3. Yeah. No, I actually had to start it like a lawnmower. I started the APU. I actually closed the baggage door because I loaded the last few bags in. Also, that's how far back in the airplane I was. It was fine. Riyadh to Doha was only an hour flight. The highlight of the whole trip, American Airlines 787 Dreamliner, Doha to Philly, 14 hours. Awesome. I think the lower cabin altitude absolutely makes a difference, especially on such a long flight. The seat was great. The food was great. The IFE all worked great. I didn't need my little seat pad. I actually slept for, I think, like 7 hours out of the 14. Yeah. I mean, I was also exhausted because we were working 3 p.m. to 3 a.m. on this video that's going to be out in December. You're going to love it. It's another great aviation video put on by Mr. Beast, and I've just sort of become their de facto airplane guy now. So once they realize that they are in over the head, they usually call me, say, how do we fix this situation? So, but the Dreamliner, the 787, all the way back in business class, 14 hours.
Flagship, Armando flagship. Flagship
That was
product. Yeah.
It was great.
No, that is
Dirk
having
says
flown
I'm
back
everybody's
with
airplane guy.
a flagship with American. I have to say that was awesome. Comfy seat, like you said, great food, and the American Airlines crews were awesome. And I also love the bedding as well. That makes a big difference as well. You do get decent bedding in that flagship business as well.
Yeah, I was actually in 1A for that flight. So I was channeling my inner Nev.
Yeah, well, pleased to see it. But no, that was quite the schedule, wasn't it? Quite the trip.
Yeah, it was. I can't wait for the listeners to see that video. I think it's going to be out like early December, mid-December. Lots of fun aviation things. You'll see exactly where they needed me. It'll make sense once the video comes out, and then once it does, then I'll do a little bit behind the scenes.
Awesome.
Oh, superb.
Right, Nev, it's time for the next thrilling part of the show.
Yes, it is. It's the retro airline ad of the week, folks. And of course, this is going back to the time where advertising agencies and clients seem to have unlimited budget for some of the productions that they were doing at the time. But this week we go back to the 1980s to an airline that flies state-of-the-art aircraft and can make its 737s dance.
Look who flies the newest, most advanced state-of-the-art aircraft. Look who takes off over 1,000 times each business day. Look who welcomes over 70 million passengers a year. Look here. Look closely, and you'll see what's making US Air one of the most successful airlines in the world. We're US Air. Look at us now.
Air. And considering all the people we serve, all the places we go, and all the times we go there, it would take a lot of airlines to be U.S. Air. U.S. Air, America's most frequent flyer.
There we go. Oh, my word.
Now, I think I did actually fly US Air once, probably around 1984 or 5, I think. Perhaps, I think it was from Dallas, Fort Worth to Philly, something like that. Yeah, I don't remember a lot about it, to be honest with you. It was such a long time ago.
US Air was classic. It was so classic. I mean, the chat room got excited. There's exclamation parts in the chat room. Like, the US Air was such a classic American airline. Oh, wait, that's weird to say that, but you know what I mean. I guess they became American. Actually, did you guys know that? I don't know if this is true or not. US Air actually bought American, but they kept the American livery.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's actually technically US Air, which was, there was a big move. But for me, after I moved to the U.S. and Puerto Rico, I moved to the East Coast and I moved to Washington, D.C., where U.S. Air had a base, and then Charlotte, where U.S. Air had a base. It was just such a cool airline, very classic, huge here in the Carolinas and the East Coast. But, oh, man, my buddy John Jester, he's just throwing up some not great emojis about U.S. Air. Anyways, I love U.S. Air. When I was a kid, I was a big NASCAR fan, and they used to sponsor a couple NASCAR race cars, like, Formula One type thing back in the day. Sorry, John.
Some serious choreography there with those 737s, which I'm guessing looked like either 300 or
I think they're 300s.
Yeah,
because that livery, the first livery that they had on the commercial there was the old one. So I think when they went from the 200s to the 300s, that was the original sort of very, very retro US Air livery.
Yeah. Still loads more of those to drag up from the vaults for next week, so don't panic. But always good to see. I'm going to try and find. I'm going to go back, see if I can find some from the 70s next week. We'll try and go
I wouldn't mind
further.
seeing some Monarch, perhaps.
I'll have a look.
Some the 7.5s and 7.6s. And did they operate the TriStar? I can't remember if they did or not.
Caledonian had the TriStar.
Oh, sorry, yes, they Caledonian. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'll see I'll see what I can find, Nev. To be fair, there's actually a couple of BA ads that I wanted to include in the show. The problem is that the two BA ads that I want to show are music all the way through, and you know what happens when you play music on YouTube.
Maybe we could find a way around that, perhaps. Yeah. So.
Right.
Just make your own soundtrack.
Exactly. Well, yes, we could just run the PTUK music alongside the ad. Good. Right, Nev, what's up next?
Right, well, it's the penultimate part of the interview series with Alan Munro. In this part, Alan talks with Nick about his adventures at RAF St Mawgan in Cornwall, his exploits during his flying in Germany, and some of the challenges he faced whilst he was instructing on the Phantom.
Now, you did an APC, I notice. Not exactly Malta or Cyprus. You went and did one at St Mawgan, which is in Cornwall.
That was on 29 Squadron.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I beg your pardon, that was 19 Squadron, yes. We went there twice.
Yeah.
The second time was worse, because the first time we hoped it might be all right.
Okay.
And the second time we knew it couldn't be.
Yeah, Newquay in the rain, I guess that wasn't what you were looking forward to.
It was shudders thinking about it.
Oh, poor you.
Yeah.
I feel very... So you did eventually get to Cyprus there. How did you enjoy that?
Well, we did have an interlude at St Mawgan where we went downtown and discovered the only worthwhile night place was called the Talk of the Town. And in there was playing the Last Chance Dance Band, and they were very well named. And but the interlude was Joe Brown and the Brothers.
Oh, okay. Well,
and they were, of course, brilliant, as they always were.
Yeah.
Younger people, but no idea who I'm talking about.
Yes, of course.
But Joe Brown was a very, very talented rocker, wasn't he? And he had a group that he called the Brothers. And I ended up sitting at a table, absolutely exhausted, and found I was sitting next to Joe Brown. And we were discussing life, and Joe Brown said, he hated it, being away from his family, and what's he going to do for the rest of the evening? And I said, well, I'll tell you what, why don't you bring the Brothers up to St Mawgan, and we'll show you around a Phantom. Oh, yeah, I'd love that, you see. I said, and bring the 3-girl group as well. And he said, well, yeah, I'll ask them. And they all turned up. A phone call from the guard room. There's a gent here called Mr. Brown, and he says he's brought his brothers. And he says he's been invited to 19 Squadron. And the boss said, what the hell's going on here? I said, I forgot to tell you, boss. I invited Joe Brown and the brothers up here. And I think it was a Friday. And, we certainly finished flying. And they all came up, and we got a super picture taken. Everybody's sitting on a Phantom. And Joe Brown said, right, down the talk of the town tonight, you're my guests. And he'd reserved 2 tables at the side of the stage. And they delivered the entire performance to us.
Oh, wow.
And the 3 girls did exactly the same. And it was a wonderful evening. And sadly, I sent Joe Brown photographs later that had taken. And I met him 20 years on, 30 years on at the Leicester Area Club, because he had a PPL. And I said, do you ever get those photographs I sent you? And he got no memory of it at all.
Oh, what a shame.
It was a shame, yeah.
Mm. Now, you have described numerous flying exploits in Germany in your book in wonderful detail. And we can't possibly ask you to remember them all, but can you recall 1 or 2, perhaps?
Well, obviously, I wrote the book.
Go on, then.
Well, cue me.
I haven't picked one. I was assuming you'd be able to perhaps remember one.
Well, we did. We decided one New Year's Eve to scramble at midnight.
You see, you did remember one. Well done.
and fly around Germany and check in with every single fighter control unit and wish them Happy New Year.
Oh, very good.
Oh, New Year's Eve, I beg your pardon.
Okay.
Wish them Happy New Year from RAF Air Defence.
No.
And that's what we did. And it's a 3, 2, 1, go, and roared off down the runway at midnight. And I did a low-level circuit round Wildenroth, and I lined up the Airman's Mess or the Mallee Club and the Sergeant's Mess and the Officer's Mess, and went about 300 feet straight across the lot with the burners in. And nobody in the Officer's Mess heard there was so much noise. And except a couple of guys that were standing in the French windows having a smoke, and they saw us go past. And otherwise it was totally unremarked on.
Oh, wow.
Until 30 years later, and a bloke I was working with, ex-army pilot, lived in the flats off the end of the runway, and he said it was normally quite quiet except for some bastard on New Year's Eve going straight over the flats.
Brilliant.
So, shall I tell him? Yeah, I went and got my logbook. He said, you bugger, it was you. Yeah. Anyway, we then climbed up and we checked in with Goodisloe. No, you can't do a low-level fly past. We got a noise issue here, didn't you know? And I saw these fireworks exploding all around Goodisloe. I said, yeah, I understand. And then we checked in with the first fighter control unit, and we went right up the border. It was a border patrol, so we went into the border, up the border, checking in with each fighter control unit in turn and saying Happy New Year.
Brilliant.
And then we did the Dutch over at New Milligan, and then the Belgians, and then landed, and that did us a par of good. You know, the goodwill that generated lasted the whole of the next year.
Wow.
So it's a nice story, and it's totally true.
Absolutely, yeah, it's brilliant. Thank you. Eventually you have to return to reality and take up a post as an instructor. You see, this is the trouble with volunteering to become a QFI. You got a job as an instructor on 228 OCU, training budding Phantom pilots.
Yes.
Were you looking forward to that job?
Yeah, I didn't mind that at all. I thought that was not a bad thing to do.
Yeah.
And I've been quite a long time in Germany, and I was quite tired and I got my duty-free car.
Thank you.
And I exchanged headlights with a padre who was just joining, and he had a Peugeot 504.
Oh, so they pointed the right way?
Yeah, and we parked them end to end and swapped headlights.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah, and then drove back, and we at that time we took a married quarter at Coningsby, and it was, I was only there a year, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Excellent. Now, your time there on the OCU was actually quite short, but it was studded with attaboys, including a Queen's Commendation, the post of the Station Flight Safety Officer. I'm not quite sure whether that's an attaboy or not. But
Yeah, that was all right. I didn't mind doing that. That was quite interesting.
Excellent. Yeah. And you became an instrument rating instructor, and you renewed your A2 QFI status on the Phantom, which takes some doing, because it's not an easy aeroplane to instruct from in the back seat, is it? No, the view is pretty
particularly
awful.
when I had to land from the back with a flap failure.
Oh yes, tell us about that.
Yeah, well, I was flying with a guy on his first trip, and so he'd never landed a Phantom ever. And you probably remember that we would approach with the GCA, a ground-controlled radar approach. And if the guy was doing all right, we'd let him do a touch and go, and then take over as he climbed off into the circuit and demonstrate a circuit. And if he wasn't doing all right, then we'd overshoot him and do the same thing. And in this case, we got waved off. There was somebody on the runway. They said, go around. And as he brought the flap up, there was a massive bang, and one flap came up and the other flap stayed down. And what do we do now? You see, and then the down flap gradually blew itself up. And then the reality hit that, oh my God, this kid has never landed a Phantom ever. So QFI, you've got to land from the back flapless. And it's something we used to practice 2 QFIs together. And we used to laugh about it and say, well, it'll never happen for real. And it did. And I briefed the guy very carefully how he was going to take over on the runway, because he had the nose wheel steering and the brakes and the hook if necessary. And anyway, I did a very, very low circuit so that I could see the runway, and a Spitfire circuit, and rolled out at the last moment so I could just see the edges of the runway, and landed it, and then controlled to the front seat, and it was fine. And years later at the Phantom reunion up in the Moon on the Mall, this guy comes up to me. Can I name names here?
Yeah.
And he was telling me, amongst all the noise about this flapless landing from the back seat. And I said, don't be daft. I said, that was me and a bloke called Di Whittingham. He said, I am bloody Di Whittingham. I said, no, you're not. He had a Beatles haircut. And this guy was like a pink cue ball. And he's, yes, we were all younger once.
Excellent. We might just point out that the view when landing, doing circuits of the Phantom from the back seat was pretty limited on a normal one. But when you're a flapless and you've got this very high nose attitude,
and you hoped for a crosswind, and of course,
absolutely. So you can peer out one side. Yeah, it was not good. It was not easy. So congratulations for getting that done. Now you ended up on Treble One Squadron.
I did.
The girls' school, Tremblers. And you...
what a typical disdainful remark from you. You've just identified yourself amongst the fully ignorant.
Exactly. And you arrived just in time to see Mac McGregor come home with no tanks and missiles off the QRA.
Well, yes, I said, do you always fly QRA with no tanks? No, we don't.
Yes, that was a kind of great start. What had gone wrong?
Were you there then?
Yes.
Oh, so was I. Isn't that amazing?
Yes, I know. How come?
That was my first day.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, Mac had got himself a bit uncertain of his position and ran out of fuel on the way home, didn't he?
Well, it was because the E3s had all gone to Ramstein because of the Polish shipyard demonstrations in Gdansk. and the U.S. Navy had taken over with what was it called, an E-4, the carrier basically.
Oh yeah, the Hawkeye thing.
The Hawkeye. Mm. And they were giving a position that was miles out, hundreds of miles out.
Okay.
And eventually they discovered this, and the conversation apparently went, well, if we punch everything off and we go to Iceland, we can the fuel will run out on approach into Iceland. So they headed for Iceland, and the story goes that the refueling mob that were set up to refuel helicopters at much slower speeds, we'll get him, and they all went rushing out of the bar to fire up their Charlie 130. And this is where you get typical British silo management, that within the sector operations at Buchan, the table's divided, and this half is Europe, that half is Atlantic, and that's controlled by the Americans in the States. This half is controlled by SACEUR in Europe. And the SAC look up and see, have you guys got a problem? Yeah, we've got this bloke running out of fuel. Oh, do you want our tanker?
Yes, please. I love it.
Well, Nev. Sterling job as always.
Yeah, some great stories there, wasn't there? And Captain Cruz in the chat room says, imagine the difficulty today when you use government aircraft and money to send New Year's wishes, not to mention the noise complaints. Oh dear, it was a different time, wasn't it? Some of the things that went on then could never be done now. And I'm just so pleased he's got all that recollection, and he's written such a superb book about it. So next week will be the final episode of this interview series, and I've really enjoyed listening to Alan's stories. And also, it was so nice to have Nick doing the interviewing, because obviously they've got so much in common. So it's been really, really good.
Yeah, it's handy to have someone like Mr. Anderson to do these things, because especially when you're interviewing someone, you know, like Alan, you need someone who's got that military knowledge as well, but not obviously about the aircraft, but about everything else that goes on within the Air Force and stuff like that. It does help, Nev.
Yeah, you've got to have the right people asking the right questions. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Right. Up next now, for a change this week, because obviously Nev normally introduces this part of the show because it's his favourite part. But as we have got Armando here, and I hope you've got one penciled in for Armando to read as well this week, Nev.
I have, yes.
As we've got Armando with us this week. Armando, would you like to introduce the next part of the show?
I'm actually a little surprised you guys still do the military. I thought, Nev is coming around. He's a great Armando replacement. But, Carlos, if you're ready, let's hit the button.
Lost up bogeys 13550, Angel 16, heading 340. Okay. 100 St. Bogeys.
This must be the third week on the trot we've had a UAV or drone story for the military segment. UK MOD seeks industry partners for new drone testing framework. This is from the ukdefencejournal.org. The Ministry of Defence has issued a prior information notice outlining plans for a new commercial framework to support testing and evaluation of uncrewed air systems, or UAS. Published on the 16th of October, the notice describes a proposed contractor flying approved organisation scheme, Basic Remotely Piloted Air Systems, or CFAOS, that would allow qualified civilian organisations to assist defence in assessing emerging drone technologies. According to the notice, the MOD aims to understand the capacity of industry to form part of a framework of competent and approved civilian organisations able to conduct official flight testing and analysis. The scheme will focus on companies capable of meeting the requirements of Regulatory Article 1031, which governs contractor-operated UAS activity under the Military Aviation Authority. Participants must demonstrate the ability to obtain MAA, and CFAOS approval within 6 months of the framework's establishment. The document sets out several criteria for interested firms, including equivalence between the civilian and military test and evaluation qualifications, and readiness to carry out short-notice trials of open S1 platforms or systems of systems. The MOD is particularly interested in leveraging commercial test and evaluation expertise to accelerate innovation, improve cost efficiency, and expand access to qualified test environments for uncrewed systems. The 3-year framework is scheduled to run from April 2027 to March 2030. The notice adds that the renewals may be available and that the scheme is designed to enhance defence availability to evaluate new capabilities rapidly while maintaining air safety and regulatory assurance. So, military UAVs, Armando, controlled by civilian networks.
For testing.
For testing.
I have always been an advocate and a proponent for including the civilian sector in military operations, especially in non-operational roles, so in support capacities. And the reason I say that is so I think a lot of people think that these contracts cost a lot of money. At the end of the day, it actually saves taxpayer money to be able to scale up and scale down the private sector support of military operations. So when you're doing things like emerging technologies, when you're doing testing, when you're even transporting aircraft or whatever, it's the care and feeding of military personnel and the government civilians and the infrastructure. And it's the government, right? So government is always slow, no matter what branch it is of government. The ability to use civilian and private sector technologies and personnel and resources always allows a government to scale up and down as needed based on operational needs without all of that giant logistical trail of care and feeding of government infrastructure and resources. So I am always just an absolute proponent of including the private sector. Plus, it just speeds up technology. You learn as the government, we're usually like a couple years behind on research development and technologies. So when you bring in private sector, it only helps develop the technology, the processes, the techniques inside of the military branches. So I'm always a fan of this.
Yeah, if it's saving us money, that's the main thing. Hey.
At the end of the day, it does save taxpayer money to actually do these short-term contracts.
Especially when you're a pensioner. Nev.
Steady. I'm not quite taking my state pension just yet. There's another 3 years to go before that happens. But yes, no, I've been very keen to get value for money for everything at the moment. I have to say, no matter what the subject is.
Value for money with your UAVs, Nev.
Oh yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I mean, we've said it for years now. It's the way of the future, and they are much more efficient, much more cost efficient. Not that they're exactly disposable or anything like that, but again, it comes to the care and feeding of the infrastructure, the individuals, and all that support stuff that happens. So at the end of the day, you can do a lot more with unmanned aircraft than you can with manned. You will always have manned aircraft, but these technologies of swarms and things like that, it's just down the road, man.
Right, Armando, you've got the next story, and I'm just reading the headline of this story, and I didn't even realise that one of these aircraft in this particular story was still in flying action, but carry on.
Well, this actually goes right along with what we're talking about. These are not military aircraft. Well, they may be, well, I guess they are Indian aircraft, but a lot of these companies have gone and bought old fourth generation fighters. Some are even older than that, but this particular story is about 8 Su-30s and 4 Jaguars that faced off against some F-35s during a carrier defense scenario for the HMS Prince of Wales in a exercise called Konkan. So the Indian Air Force provided some Su-30s, some specifically maritime strike aircraft and some Jaguars also, and an IL-76. It's a command and control platform. While the Britain's F-35Bs were responding to try to stop them as part of this sort of attack scenario. This is a first of its kind for a head-to-head complex maritime strike aerial combat scenario that took place a couple weeks ago. It was announced by all three services. This was a special drill 2 days after the current iteration of a 20-year-old Exercise Konkan of the Indian and Royal Navy participating together on the Western Indian seaboard. The RAF listed a total of 22 jets taking part in this exercise, the composition being 6 F-35s from the Prince of Wales, 8 Su-30s, the IL-76 command and control aircraft, and the 4 Jaguars. So these are all there. Jaguars and Su-30s have been around since they were designed in the late 60s. They were really popular in the 70s and the 80s. But it is important that it's important for advanced aircraft like the F-35s and F-22s to be able to counter more simple technologies, such as these third and fourth generation fighters like the Su-30s. It can actually be challenging. If you've watched that documentary Top Gun Maverick, they jump into this F-14 that's 50 years old, 60 years old, right? And they're flying against F-18s and MiGs and whatever. But I think it's always important, and a lot of contract companies have bought things like the A4s, the Draken. Is it Draken or Kraken? I can't remember. One of those two companies. Yeah. One of those two contract companies has bought a lot of some of these old airplanes. Thank you. Now we can all see Carlos's file system.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Just grabbing some pictures.
So we can't see his internet history. That's all I can see.
I don't want to even know. But yeah, so some of these airplanes are really important to be able to fight against, to make sure that we can still sort of defend against these older technologies, which is honestly what most of our adversaries are going to have.
Yeah, I was just trying to grab some pictures there because I was trying to remember what the Jaguar looked like. So I am just dropping some pictures in there. Hopefully this will work. And get them up.
Nev would say it looks like every other fighter jet in the world. It's gray, it's green, it's got missiles, it's pointy, it's fast.
Now that would be Captain Al's take on that, I think, for sure. But no, speak among yourselves at the moment.
I always thought, I can't remember, in Hot Shots, the Charlie Sheen movie, I always thought they were Jaguars, but I guess they were Alpha Jets or something like that they used. It was, I don't remember. Jaguars got long history with a couple different air forces, right? RAF, the Indian Air Force, French Air Force, Omanis, I think, had them. So
there we go. There is the Jaguar.
Yeah, there it is. It's green, it's gray, it's pointy, it's fast, and it's loud. It's a fighter jet.
It's very loud. I'm pretty sure that Mr. Warner has probably seen quite a few of those.
Gnats.
Jonathan Warner, Hot Shots was the fallen
gnats. I remember watching the movie and thinking, what airplane is that? Yeah, there you go.
There we go.
Of course, that was a Captain Nick aircraft back in the day as well. That's what he used to fly.
Yeah, right.
What the fallen
Maybe he was in Hot Shots. We don't even know.
He could well have been. But
well, there you go.
Short
and sweet military
Short
section.
And sweet military. Yes. Thanks for putting that together this week, Nev. Actually, thank you, Nev. I'm going to say, in case I forget, thank you, Nev, for putting together all the show notes this week for the show. Much appreciated this week.
That's all right. No, I produced the entire show apart from the retro airline ad of the week this week. So any errors and complaints, you know where to write to, don't you?
Yes.
Matt at PTUK.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Always blame it on the guy that's not here.
Yeah.
So we're going to start to wrap up the show, but first, quick Ryan Robin to see what everyone's up to next week. Obviously, Armando, it's been good to have you back on the show this week. If we could get you on every week, that would be awesome. But I know you are quite a busy chap right now, aren't you?
Yeah, but hey, you never know, and it's always nice to be back on, just like old times.
Yeah. So what's the plan for the week, rest of the week, Armando? Any flying? I'm guessing you're going to be going in the biplane, doing some flying at some point.
Well, if you haven't bought your tickets yet, the Las Cruces, it's called Sky Fiesta this year. So Sky Fiesta is the air races and air show. Tora is going to be there. They're awesome little production. We're going to have some B-25 Mitchell, and then of course the sport class air racing, what used to race in Reno. On a different episode, we'll talk about Roswell and all that, what happened there. And it ended up just kind of splitting. A couple of the classes went one way, a couple of the classes went a different way. But at the end of the day, the new Reno air races, which happened in Roswell, there was 3 classes: the sport class, the unlimiteds, and I think biplane ended up not participating because of some safety concerns. So we're basically putting on our own race in Las Cruces this weekend. I don't think we're going to be streaming it. We're not quite there yet on technology, but this will be our 3rd year there running that course in Las Cruces, and it's turning into a big old event. So we're looking for 65,000, 70,000 people to show up.
And you'll be wearing your your PTUK uniform as well, I expect.
Absolutely. That's the only thing I patch.
I'll hold you to that, Armando. I'm going to I'll scour social media for pictures of Armando at the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but it's going to be a good show.
What about you, Nev? What's going on in the world of...
Just checking the diary. My pension payment is on the 26th of the month, as is British summertime ends as well. So that means it's going to get even darker in the evening, but a little bit brighter in the morning. So
does that the clocks go back this weekend, Nev?
They do, Sunday. 2:00 in the morning.
Oh,
so
no.
Yeah, it's all going to get. Although your drive to work will be a little bit lighter in the morning, but darker in the evening. That's it.
Oh wow.
So that's not good. But on Saturday, I'm going for an aviation curry night with some well-known personalities: Captain Al, Adam from Heathrow Tower, Pilot Pip, and Captain Nick. And I will be sharing a curry together at a local venue, as you can imagine, being the only non-professional aviation person in the room. That's just going to be, pretty horrific for me. But I'll deal with it.
Yet still more hours in the air than all of them.
Well, I don't know about that. But, yeah. But no, it should be good fun seeing the fellas again. We've been trying to get a date together in the diary for months and months and months, and everybody's schedule's all different, of course. And obviously, with Pip and Al flying the whole time, trying to get their schedules to align has been difficult. But it'd be nice to see them again because I haven't seen them for ages, actually. So I'm looking forward to that.
That's a good crew. That's a lot of 61% true stories that are going to come out that night.
Yeah, that's right. Exaggeration and embellishment. That's the life of those fellas, isn't it?
I look forward to some pictures, Nev.
Yes, I was thinking of bringing my audio recorder, but you know what it's like trying to do audio and video in these sort of highly reverberant spaces with egos that are on the rev limiter, as you can imagine, with that lot. So I don't know. I'll see how it goes. I might try something.
I will be back on the radio this Saturday after being off last Saturday because I was in lovely Dublin on a stag weekend, but it was very good indeed. Enjoyed that much. I tell you, really enjoyed that. My very good friend Mark is getting married on the 6th of November. So, we had his stag weekend in Dublin at the weekend, which was awesome. Really, really enjoyed that weekend. And good to get back to Dublin as well. And a big thanks to Alan White, because I know Alan does listen to the show, and he did supply us with some very good information as to where to eat and drink in Dublin, which made things very much all very easy indeed. So big thanks to you, Alan, for that. And on Saturday afternoon, I shall be, just being passed a cup of tea here. Saturday afternoon, I shall be heading off, hopefully, to go and look at some new sofas, which is an exciting part of any weekend, is to go and look at new sofas. So looking forward to that immensely this weekend. And then Sunday, my day of rest. Looking forward to that very much this week. And Tanya in the chat room says, herding the cats. Yeah, I'll be herding the cats as well. Dave and Nigel will be, yes, enjoying themselves. And if the weather continues to be as cool as it has been the last few days, I may even light the wood burner this weekend. You never know. But, yeah. So, Nev.
Yes, we're in for a bit of weather tomorrow, aren't we?
We are in for some wind, yeah. And that's before your Indian curry.
Quite.
So, Nev, where can people find out more about us on the social medias?
Yes, Facebook, X and Instagram are the platforms to look for us on, and just search those for Plain Talking UK. You can email the show, podcast@plaintalkinguk.com, and the WhatsApp number for you to send pictures or complaints or compliments, +44 7446 975 214. You can subscribe to the YouTube channel. You'll get notifications when we go live, and you can help shape the conversation of the show by joining us in the chat room. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Press the thumbs up button. Just go to youtube.com and search for Plain Talking UK. Obviously, the show has some running costs, as you know, so if you're able to help mitigate some of those, we've got a Patreon and PayPal donation system running on the website. Now, we've got some very early sort of, not news to report, but we're just starting to have a conversation about what we might be doing for our 600th show, which is probably going to be around about May time, something like that, of next year. So it's in the very early discussion stage, but we're going to try and put on something nice for all you folks again. So stay tuned, and we'll have updates as we go through the coming weeks and months. But yeah, the 600th show actually isn't very far away. And the time you get the other side of Christmas, suddenly April and May is upon us very quickly. So let's see how we do, and we'll keep you posted.
I just love that after almost 10 years, over 10 years, we're finally where the even hundreds of the centenaries are now starting to fall into the spring and the summer instead of the dead of winter in the UK.
Yeah, finally we're going to be having a warm, show. Special
700 is going to be great in June.
Yeah. Well, thank you again, Armando, for joining us this evening. It's been good to have you back on. We have missed you, and I know the chat room appreciate you being on the show tonight as well. They do miss you very much. Just remember that, Armando. You are missed. Yeah.
Thank you, Carlos.
Yeah.
I do miss your faces, but I do actually stay in touch with you guys. I did miss the chat room. It's always nice to see them. And keeping us straight.
And Nev, again, thank you for putting this week's show notes together.
Pleasure, matey. No problem at all. Really enjoyed it. Yeah.
And also thanks to all the chat room for joining us tonight. All the usual family members in there as well this week. And Jenny in Rome as well. She was in there. And Ian Parrott as well. Ian's in there as well, our guest from last week. Don't forget to, if you haven't listened already, go back to last week's show where we had Ian on as a guest chatting about his sim up in Great Yarmouth, which is well worth a visit if you've not already been there yet. Right, that's it for this week's show. We'll be back next Wednesday again with more aviation goodness, more retro airline ads, and maybe we might just be able to entice perhaps Armando to join us again in the not too distant future. But Nev, if you'd like to take out the show, I'll start pressing some buttons.
Yeah, thanks everybody for joining us this evening. Really enjoyed it. Thank you, Armando, for joining us. It's been fantastic and great to see and hear that you're doing so well as well. And I say we'll be back on Wednesday, 7 o'clock UK time next week. Hope you have a nice remainder of the week and the weekend. Bye for now.
Well, we done it.
Another one in the can.
Another one in the can.
Brilliant. Very good.
600. Crazy.
Yeah.
It's too many, isn't it? It's too many.
It's a lot.
It's a couple. It's definitely a couple of shows, that's for sure.
Can you believe that I haven't been on Zoom since the last time I was on the show? And there's some changes.
Yes, there are lots of updates since then. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's good. I think this virtual backdrop thing is getting better and better.
Yeah, it is good. Dirk, yes, the 600 show probably in May of next year by the looks of things. So hoping for some good weather. But you never quite know what you're going to get here, as you know. So we'll keep you posted.
Yeah, I think hopefully if we push the show is sort of that further forward into towards the summertime, that the weather would be better in May.
Yes,
I can't remember whether it was mid-May or beginning or end of May. Nev, I can't.
Yeah, I think it depends how it sort of lands, really. But let's see how we get on. But it's very early discussions at the moment, so we'll just sort out venues and what we're doing and how we're doing it and what have you. But we'll give you plenty of notice anyway.
Darren Smith in the chat room, 600 show. Can some of us in the chat room be on the show? Or you can be on in person. You can join us where we decide to have the 600th. You're always free to join us, but we might be able to try and wangle some technical genius to try and bring some chat room guests in somehow, Nev.
Yeah, no, we'll find ways of doing things, don't you worry. But we thought we'd revert back to another sort of in-person meet-up kind of style thing. So we'll keep you posted. But these things, as you know, take a lot of working out, and there's obviously quite a lot of cost associated with it as well. So we just need to make sure that we're able to do that. So, we'll keep you informed.
That is the problem when you approach the larger, more well-known venues, as most of you will know, is then you ask them for the use of a meeting area, even though you're probably going to spend the most part of sort of 4 months promoting their venue. They generally don't tend to be too generous with the cost of the hiring of venues.
Do you remember we investigated? I think we were trying to do it for the 500th, but we
Concord.
Yes, at Manchester, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We asked them how much it would cost for us to use the facility there. It was almost the price of a Concorde ticket, wasn't it?
Put it this way: we could have purchased a brand new PTUK tour bus with the cost of hiring the venue at Manchester where the Concorde is.
Yeah.
I think Thorpe Abbott's would be nice. They have that little dining area, if you want to call it that, little stage and everything.
Yeah, we're bantering around ideas at the moment, Armando. We'll discuss off air.
Great.
Yes,
I love it.
We've got an unexpected guest joining us from the Netherlands, I think, as well.
Nederlanden.
Someone that you know.
It looks like he's in space.
There he is, Mr. Jester. Good evening.
This is like the scene from Contact where you might as well just be like.
I got to cover up the kiddo pictures behind me that. The wife is not a big fan of putting on YouTube. So.
Sure. When did you fly for US Air?
Colgan.
Oh, at Colgan. All right.
And Air Wisconsin.
I was trying to think of Air Wisconsin, but I thought Air Wisconsin was United.
It was, as I was getting on, and then it went to US Air because they bought into US Air to save them from bankruptcy.
Oh, right.
And then I relearned all the joys of US Airdom, which is
yeah. I don't know if you guys remember the rest of the podcast, but John and my dad worked together at US Air. My dad was John's ground instructor.
He was the head of the training.
Yeah.
I walked into class and hit this You know,
Mr.
person
Oldman.
comes and goes, "Where is Mr. Jester?" I'm like, hi, what did I do wrong?
Dirk S in the chat room, John, is asking for, while you're here, just briefly, a bit of your own input to the ACT incident. I know it's new and there's a lot of this and that's and nays, but kind of your take on what happened.
I mean, Armando kind of pulled that in there. So a couple things, I didn't get to type all in there. Apparently this is a ferry flight, so it would have been a very light airplane, and the airplane is very susceptible to just losing nose wheel steering when it's light, because it's not much weight on the tail or on the nose wheel, and so your steering's not great. And if, like I passed on to Armando, if you had an engine that stayed in reverse by accident, or somehow they closed it and put one engine up into power, back up to power, you would rapidly lose directional control. We practice the we call low gross weight aft CG takeoffs, and they'll do an engine failure on us, and you are going to go visit to the grass pretty much almost every time, unless you are Johnny on the spot, you're practicing it.
I'm guessing because the aircraft was light, John, it probably reacts a lot quicker than what it would do if it was fully loaded.
Yeah, and the CG just tends to drift to the rear, which takes the weight off the nose gear. I mean, I've seen empty airplanes just absolutely roll across the chocks just because there's so little weight.
That's why everyone should be a tail dragger pilot. Even the 747 can be a tail dragger.
With that, I'd like to say
747 can be a tail dragger at any point in time if it's loaded up incorrectly. Yeah. But that plane, I've landed on that runway a lot, and it's there's a weird spot, but probably about the part where you would be starting to think about closing the reversers, which is why I thought that if it was a light airplane. But I also can't understand why you would have anything above idle reverse. When you're that light, I mean, the plane doesn't really need it. It's pretty easy to stop, especially light. A lot of times I don't even land with the auto brakes turned on. I'll just crack the reversers. As soon as I touch down, let it decel to about 100 knots, and then just ease on the brakes the old-fashioned way instead of the fancy auto brakes thing, just to make it a little smoother.
The thing with all jets is once it starts going awry, it all happens very quickly. And I think just a shock factor of this is abnormal and things are not going like they're supposed to be going. Just that split second, whether it's a directional control issue, whether it's an engine failure. I mean, sure, we practice all kinds of crazy things in the sim, but when it happens in the heat of battle, there's so much momentum going in weird ways, and your body takes just ever so slightly longer to process it because it's actually happening to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the ability to rapidly accept a new reality is not shared by all people.
That's very diplomatic.
We've seen it in our lives, professional lives. Certainly Armando has in his past career, that you have to be able to rapidly accept that, hey, this is not happening and I need a wholly new plan immediately. So
presumably it looks like it went off something like just under 100 knots, or maybe a bit less.
I think it hit the water about 60 knots.
Was it? So there's still plenty of rudder authority, though, isn't there? I would imagine.
60 still have some there, but once you got that far off, you were,
off the reservation.
You're on for going for a ride. It's just a matter of where you're going to end up. And so just sad to hear about the people on the ground. I mean, that's just, holy cow, you're just all of a sudden an airplane coming at you. I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
You know, I once was at the Reno Air Races when a Thunderbird screwed up, and you know we had a face full of a Thunderbird going in front of us, and just about took our hair off with the jet wash, and we all sat there stunned. I mean, for like 60 seconds until the person like a couple of rows in front of us was like let a big F-bomb out and started complaining about the paperwork he was going to have to do when he got back to the base because it was so bad. And then it kind of shocked us all into like, yeah, that was absolutely not supposed to happen. So people like, yeah, he's, you know, it's one of those things like you just kind of get along for it. And I've seen lots of incidents where guys are along for the ride once it starts to go wrong and can't make the adjustment or there's nothing you can do. And it'd be really hard once that thing was off road. You know, 45 degrees off to get it back. That way.
Yeah, I mean, that's any airplane, right? You could be in a Cessna. I could be in the biplane, and once the ground loop starts happening, like you're really kind of along for the ride, and you just kind of try to minimize the damage. But there's a lot of things in aviation and boats that you're along for the ride.
I spun a CRJ once on ice.
Yeah,
on the taxiway. And I even knew it was a possibility of happening. And as soon as it started to happen, I started doing things to try and stop it. And it was like, nope. Momentum has entered the room, it has dropped its vote, and I have nothing I can do with it. So just sat there.
What are you doing, Carlos? We're doing a John Jester interview right now. Also, there's some questions in the chat room. First of all, I'm curious of Captain Cruz, where are you based? Because you sure do know a lot about these East Coast things, but you flew the Saab at Colgan, right?
I flew Saab 340Bs out of Manassas. So yes, he's correct. I did Manassas mostly, and then towards the end I went up to Presque Isle, Maine to escape the Manassas black hole. So
yeah, I used to go into that facility over on, I don't know, Highway 28 Overland. I used to go with my dad just to watch him welcome classes and all.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it was fun times there. I mean, it was a great place to start up, and a lot of good, nice people there. A lot of people that were over their head though.
Yeah,
their skill sets, and the problem with that airline is it just got so big.
Yeah. That
the family couldn't really run it, and they couldn't let go enough to let others run it. And then they sold off there, about the time that accident occurred, and or just before the accident occurred up in Buffalo. So it was
that's unfortunate that was Colgan's legacy, was that accident. But
yeah, I mean, and they had another accident before that was Beach 1900. Up in Hyannis, it went into the water. That was sort of a weird issue with maintenance and diagrams and that kind of stuff. But
yeah.
It's unfortunate that stuff happens.
Well, yeah, I remember when that 1900 went in Charlotte into the hangar because of the FCG.
This is the exact same reason that the Colgan one went in, except the Colgan was on the forward end of CG. So it was the two ends of the CG spectrum that caused the same problem. One went into the water and one went into the hangar.
After that, so ACA. So another fun fact: John and I were at Atlantic Coast Airlines together, different capacities. Were you weren't on the Jetstreams? Did you go into the RJs? Right?
Yeah, I went straight into RJs.
RJs. Yeah. So that was right as I was leaving. Because when I was there, we still had Jetstream 32s and 41s, and we just started getting the CRJ 200s. I think that's when John came in.
We were working across the black belt, and I was still at United when you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was working
at Dulles
a couple times there.
Yeah,
a long time ago.
The old A terminal at Dulles.
Yeah.
Well, nice to hear that you flew some fine British aircraft there. Presumably that was without autopilot. The 31.
31s were without, and the 41s had it. I didn't fly the 41. I just got towed around in it a bunch. I have some bad words for the engineer who designed the nose gear on that plane. Because who puts a nose gear pin on the top of the nose gear is just not right.
I ended up working on a Jetstream 41 years later. So it was like 2019 when I went to that company, Thea, and I was flying the DC-3. We also had a Jetstream 41 that was our test bed for the hyperspectral imagery. That was like going back old times. There I was in a Jetstream again. I thought I would never touch another Jetstream.
I ran into a 41 at Manassas that was an old plane from ACA turned into a corporate plane that had come in for the Obama inauguration. And the guys were pulling up to it and they're getting ready to go overwing it. And I'm like, what are you doing? And they're like, we're going to get some fuel. I'm like, yeah, but it's single point. And they're like, what? And I'm like, click, 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 right there.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And they were like, how do I get into this thing? And I'm like, oh, this pop, 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 pop. Here we go. I don't know how I remember this stuff. It'd been like years since I'd seen one, but ingrained in your brain.
That is. It's back there somewhere.
Head from a J-32 baggage area in the back.
That's like the Pilatus. I still fly occasionally Pilatus, but it's like I never left it, despite all the other airplanes. I love this. This is the post episode. We should have a couple beers and all that stuff.
Oh, dear.
We probably need to do this separately sometime.
We should just have a banter, airplane banter. Got some fun stories.
Or you and I need to just get together. I need to have an excuse to come down and see you.
Oh, but see, now you said it in front of the chat room and everybody, and now they're going to be like, well, can you guys record it?
You will do in May next year, John. You'll have the excuse.
Yeah, 600.
I want to come down there. I want to come down there and see you anyway. So you're still down in Charlotte, right?
Still in Charlotte.
All right, we'll figure this out.
Sounds good.
Cool.
All right, sorry, chat room.
We better let the chat room head off into the distance, into the evening.
I appreciate you letting me in. I just wanted to say hey to you all the time.
Yeah, it's always good to see you, John.
Brilliant.
Yeah,
my buddy there,
my partner. Right, thank you, chat room, and thank you, everyone, for joining us. Nev, would you like to say the final au revoir to the chat room?
Yes, thanks everyone for joining us this evening, and thanks John for joining us. So I really appreciate it. It's always great fun to have you on the show as well. But I hope everybody has a nice rest of the week. Don't forget the clocks go back, don't they? Yes, that's right. Fall back, spring forward. So yes, UK and Europe, I think, definitely, and then other parts of the world too on Sunday. But hope you have a nice rest of the week. Take care. See you next Wednesday. All the best. Bye.